In the silence between heartbeats, there is a whisper of rebellion, a rebellion that begins in the most unexpected place. Your softness. They told you that vulnerability is a wound waiting to be torn open, that gentleness is a liability in a world constructed of sharp edges and harder truths. But listen closely. Your softness is not a weakness. It is a thunderstorm disguised as a gentle rain, a revolution wrapped in the quietest of breaths. Every time they tried to convince you that being soft means being broken, they were revealing their own profound misunderstanding. Softness is not about being passive. Softness is active resistance. It is choosing compassion when cruelty would be easier. It is maintaining your humanity in a landscape designed to strip it away. Imagine for a moment the raw, untamed power of a heart that refuses to be hardened. A heart that looks pain in the eye and says, "You will not define me. You will not reshape me into something unrecognizable." This is not about surviving. This is about thriving in the most radical way possible. By staying true to yourself. By refusing to let the world's brutality carve away your essential nature. When they push, you do not push back with equal force. You absorb. You transform. You alchemize their aggression into understanding. Your softness is not a shield. It is a weapon more potent than any they could imagine. A weapon of radical empathy, of unbreakable spirit. Consider the bamboo, flexible, bending with the wind, but never truly breaking. Rooted so deeply in its own essence that no external force can uproot its fundamental truth. You are that bamboo, swaying under pressure, but never surrendering your core. Every moment they tried to break you was actually an invitation to discover the depth of your own resilience, an invitation to prove that softness is not about being fragile. It's about being flexible, about being so profoundly connected to your inner strength that no external force can shake your foundation. They misunderstood your gentleness. They saw it as an opportunity, a weakness to exploit. But what they failed to comprehend was a volcanic power simmering beneath that gentleness, a power that does not explode, but transforms. Softness is not about avoiding conflict. It's about engaging with the world in a way that fundamentally challenges its existing narratives. When they expect you to fight fire with fire, you respond with water, cooling, healing, transforming. Your soft heart is not a vulnerability. It is your greatest strategic advantage. In a world that celebrates aggression, your gentleness becomes an act of profound rebellion, a statement that says, "I will not be defined by your limited understanding of strength. I will define strength on my own terms. Terms that honor complexity. Terms that celebrate vulnerability. Terms that recognize true power comes from the ability to remain open, to continue feeling, to continue caring. When everything around you screams for you to close down, to shut off, to become numb, your softness is your superpower. Your gentleness is your armor. Your ability to feel deeply is not a weakness. It is a radical act of survival, a declaration that you will not be diminished, that you will not be silenced, that you will continue to pulse with life, with passion, with an unbreakable spirit. There is a geography of pain, a landscape carved by experiences, but you are not a passive terrain. You are the cartographer of your own healing. Maps are not fixed. They are living documents, constantly redrawn, constantly reimagined. Every scar is a story of survival, not a defeat, not of brokenness, but of remarkable reconstruction. Imagine your pain as raw material, not a wound, but a workshop of potential, where suffering is transmuted into strength, where vulnerability becomes your most sophisticated armor. The world will try to categorize you, to place you in neat, predictable boxes, resistant to complexity, allergic to nuance. But you are not a statistic. You are not a summary. You are an ecosystem of experiences, a universe of untold narratives. Your resilience is not linear. It does not move in straight lines. It spirals. It weaves. It creates intricate patterns of survival that defies simple explanation. Each time they said you would break, you learned to bend. Each time they predicted your collapse, you discovered new architectures of endurance. Your softness is not passive acceptance. It is active transformation, a radical reimagining of what strength can look like. Strength is not about being unmoved. It's about being profoundly movable, about having the courage to feel everything, to let emotions flow through you like rivers, knowing they will shape you, but never erode your fundamental essence. The world teaches a binary of hardness and weakness. You are rewriting that equation, introducing variables of complexity, of nuanced resilience, of strength that breathes, that feels, that remains perpetually alive. Your gentleness is not a wound waiting to be cauterized. It is a living, pulsing intelligence, a form of wisdom that understands healing is not about closing, but about remaining open, about creating space. Space for transformation, space for renewal, space for continuous becoming. They will not understand this language, the language of soft revolution, of quiet, persistent metamorphosis. Let them misinterpret, let them underestimate. Your power was never about their comprehension. Your power is about your own continuous unfolding. You are a universe in perpetual motion, a constellation of unfinished revolutions. Your softness is not an endpoint. It is a beginning, a radical declaration of continuous becoming. Imagine your pain as sacred topography, not a landscape of destruction, but a map of unprecedented possibility. Every moment that attempted to break you was actually preparing you, calibrating your internal compass, training you for a journey beyond survival, into radical authenticity. The mathematics of your resilience defies conventional calculation. It is exponential, not linear. Each challenge does not simply add to your strength. It multiplies your understanding of what you can endure, what you can transform. They said softness was a vulnerability, but what they could not comprehend was that your gentleness is a form of strategic intelligence, a sophisticated algorithm of survival, programmed not for defense, but for continuous regeneration. Your heart is not a battlefield. It is a living laboratory, where pain is research, where hurt is raw data, waiting to be transformed into wisdom, into unprecedented insights, into revolutionary understanding. Consider the quantum nature of your resilience. It does not follow predictable patterns. It exists in multiple states simultaneously. Vulnerable, yet unbreakable. Wounded, yet perpetually healing. Soft, yet monumentally powerful. The world operates on binary systems. Weak or strong, broken or whole. You are introducing a new language, a spectrum of existence, where vulnerability is not opposite to strength, but its most sophisticated expression. Your softness is not a compromise. It is a complete philosophical system, a method of engaging with the world that transforms everything it touches, not through force, but through profound, radical understanding. Every time they expected you to shatter, you demonstrated a different physics, a physics of resilience, where breakdown becomes breakthrough, where pain becomes portal, where hurt becomes holy ground. For radical reimagination, you are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you metabolize experience, how you alchemize trauma into transcendence, how you turn wounds into windows, scars into maps, pain into profound purpose. Your gentleness is not passive. It is the most active form of resistance, a continuous rebellion against systems that demand you become less, become numb, become small. Instead, you choose expansion, you choose feeling, you choose to remain fundamentally alive. In a world designed to produce mechanical responses, you are organic intelligence, living poetry, a constant state of becoming. They will try to categorize you, to place you in predictable containers. But you are not containable. You are a process, an ever-evolving narrative, a revolution that refuses to be named. Softness is not what happens to you. Softness is what you create. In the face of everything, a generative force, a transformative power, your ultimate act of rebellion.